Hi all, I'd like now to move on to Emanuel Lasker, the second official world champion in chess. And in reading around Lasker, I became aware again that actually he was a friend of Albert Einstein, you know, the guy that invented quite a few, contributed quite a lot of important theories to the world of science. E equals MC squared is one of the more controversial ones. Okay, so you've heard of Albert, and actually Albert actually played chess, and here is a game played in Princeton, USA, 1933. It's the only game that ChessGames.com have of Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said of Lasker in a preface to a book, The Life of a Chess Master, by Dr. Jacques Hanak, 1952. He wrote, Emanuel Lasker was undoubtedly one of the most interesting people I came to know in my later years. We must be thankful to those who have penned the story of his life for this and succeeding generations, for there are few men who have had a warm interest in all the great human problems and at the same time kept their personality so uniquely independent. I am not a chess expert and therefore not in a position to marvel at the force of mind revealed in his greatest intellectual achievements in the field of chess. I must even confess that the struggle for power and the competitive spirit expressed in the form of an ingenious game has always been repugnant to me. I met Emanuel Lasker at the house of my old friend Alexander Moskowski and came to know him very well in the course of many walks of life in which we exchanged opinions about the most varied questions. It was a somewhat one-sided exchange in which I received more than I gave, for it was usually more natural for this eminently productive man to shape his own thoughts than to busy himself with those of another. To my mind, there was a tragic note in his personality. Despite his fundamentally affirmative attitude towards life, the enormous psychological tension, without which nobody can be a chess master, was so deeply interwoven with chess that he could never entirely rid himself of the spirit of the game, even when he was occupied with philosophic and human problems. At the same time, it seems to me that chess was more a profession for him than the real goal of his life. His real yearning seems to be directed towards scientific understanding and the beauty inherent only in logical creation, a beauty so enchanting that nobody who has once caught a glimpse of it can ever escape it. There's actually more to what Albert wrote in the preface of this book. So if you want to look this up, this is in it's in the preface of The Life of a Chess Master, 1952. Okay, let's have a look at Einstein's game out of interest against Oppenheimer. It's actually not a bad game tactically. So E4, he's an E4 player. Knight F3, Knight C6, and now Albert played Bishop B5, classic Roy Lopez stuff. So after there was an immediate B5 though, not I think more standard like Knight F6. So this is already a bit unusual. Knight F6 now, and now after castles, Black took on E4. He's asking for a bit of trouble here. Rook E1, D5, and now A4. So this is not a bad game from White so far. But Black plays B4. He's not really developing his pieces that much, and now there's punishment in the centre, starting with D3. So White takes that E5 pawn, and now there's Knight E7. Okay, and now we see Albert Einstein going on to the attack with Queen F3, highlighting the weakness of the F7 square as well as putting pressure on this diagonal. Okay, how does Black defend? Well, he defends rather awkwardly now with F6, and this allows Queen H5 check. And after G6, yes, Albert does play Knight takes G6, exploiting the pin on the H pawn as well as the pin on the Knight. He's good with his pins, it seems. He really is. So, as well as being a brilliant scientist, he wasn't that bad at chess. So after Hg, he's won the exchange. Queen takes H8. So Black takes on B3 here, and okay, maybe Bishop H6 is a very good move here, but C takes B3 was played, keeping Bishop H6 in reserve now, and actually played now. So Bishop H6. The king tries to evacuate, but Black's losing lots of material now. So Bishop takes F8. After Bishop B7, Queen G7, another vicious pin now. Okay, poor knight. But here is also, you know, we're seeing some good tactics skills. So knight d2, and after c5, Albert's putting even more pressure on the black king now, trying to get a pin generated in this direction. So he first plays rook a d1, setting up another pinning opportunity. And believe it or not, guess what Albert Einstein played in this position, if I give you 10 seconds, starting from now. Okay, he played knight c4. Pretty cool stuff, it's got to be said. So he's ripping open that d file. So lots of things are pinned, the queen and knight. Okay, so black's had it. He takes after check. Now bishop takes e7, and finally Robert resigns. So wow, you know, so I just thought I'd kick off this Lasker series with his good friend Albert Einstein and what he said in that preface to that book. Lasker, from what I'm reading, I think I'm changing my mind that he was sort of well ahead of his time in preparing for opponents. He didn't just see the game as playing correct strategic, you know, and tactical chess, but he saw it as a fight as well. And so as a fight, the opponent has particular strengths and weaknesses, and he was factoring in those strengths and weaknesses into his style of play, into his opening choices. So sometimes encouraging over optimism from his opponents, sometimes just causing annoyance by not giving opponents the kind of positions they excel in. So all sorts of psychologically orientated ideas. So not just trying to play the optimally best you know, chess possible, but gearing it for an opponent. And if we look at modern chess and the way, you know, Kasparov was a trainer for Carlsen, you know, one of the ideas I think was to help prepare to get opponents, you know, like Kramnik, into the most uncomfortable positions for them. So opening choice is very critical in today's chess, and things like ChessBase and researching opponents' games. If you have to play them in a FIDE tournament, you can go over their games, see their strong points, avoid openings, for example, that they're strong in. So there's concrete stuff like that. But you might also notice good and bad habits and particular interest areas, like do they like attacking, do they like endgames, etc. And so you could try and gear your play for a particular opponent as well as the board. But I think, was it Fischer that said, "Oh, play the board, not the opponent"? I think he was more universal. He didn't like such trickery, you know, just gearing for an opponent. But it might be a good time saver, you know, or it might be, the word I think is effective, not theoretically best, but actually effective chess is sometimes chess geared to the opponent. You know, what they like and dislike, because you're not playing computer, so why should we try and play like computers ourselves? By the same token, we can't exhaustively analyze positions. We try and you know, judge positions more with evaluation rather than calculation. So anyway, okay, so we're going to be exploring Lasker over the next few videos. Let's just briefly check out this Einstein game again before we go into Lasker games. So Einstein was good with his tactical pins, it seems. He loved exploiting the pins, and he created fierce pressure on the D and E files, to which the black king was blasted. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.